So the reason why I feel like I will always, have the utmost respect for Chuck is because, like, ever since the day that I met the man, like, there was nothing that you could not speak to him about. He's one of those, like, very honest and straightforward, blunt people, you know what I mean? When it comes to any subject matter that you bring to him, whether it be, his personal opinion on your material or, you know what I mean, just any real life, you know what I mean, anything about real life that you can speak with them about. There's not, 1 ounce of sugar coating within this man. So I think ultimately those are the types of people that you want to keep around you, the ones that are going to give you the honest, straightforward truth every single time. And, it was just once again, the whole real, recognized real aspect when it came between me and him. And you can tell because, like, even before, me and him initially met, I had actually known who Chuck Dizzle was because I was following Homegrown Radio, during the origins of its times before it became an entity of Real 92.3. And the way that me and Chuck had actually met, like, we had a mutual acquaintance even before, me and him actually met each other in person. Our partner Prime, would go back and forth between us and, tell him about me and vice versa. So I just had always known, you know what I mean, that Chuck was just a real individual even before we met. And then when we finally met, it just, I knew he was certified. So that's just, why I'll always, as I said, have the utmost respect for Chuck at the end of the day. So salute to you, sir. Congratulate you on that, because I know that is most certainly not an easy task.
That's not. Thank you, though.
And I know you did it for the realest reasons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The only reason why, that would make us for sure, make that transition. But for those who may be going through the same struggle right now, what would be like the best advice that you can give them on their way?
Take it one day at a time, man. Like, I think the biggest reason why a lot of people get tripped up off of that, whether it be sobriety or just tackling goals or anything like that, a lot of people they look at the end result, which it's not a problem in doing that, but sometimes you just got to worry about one day at a time, 1 minute at a time. If you look at, I think Will Smith said it best, he was like, when you focus on building a wall, you don't think of the whole wall. You think of laying it brick by brick, lay the most perfect brick you possibly can, one brick at a time, and eventually you look up and it'll be a wall. So that's how it happened for me. Like, I knew I needed to stop. So I said, okay, cool, I'm done, right? And one day at a time, I ended up looking up, it was 100 days. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Looked up again, it was a year, and I'm like, oh, snap. And now here we are, a little over 3 years now, and I'm like, wow, I never saw myself getting this far. Not to say I was going to relapse or anything like that, but I just never looked that far in advance. I just knew I needed to stop immediately because I got past the point where I could, pull back just a little bit. I would always stop a little bit and I would go harder when I went back. And then when I went harder, some other stuff happened where it was just like, all right, bro, there's only so many things that's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? And I'd rather nip it in the bud now before it becomes a problem.
Absolutely.
And again, that's just my story, my journey. Not everybody else has that luxury to just be able to quit like that. So I would just tell people, man, just take it one day at a time. And I think you'll end up realizing, like, damn, okay, celebrate 2 weeks. Like, damn, I did 2 weeks? Man, that's amazing. Man, a month? Oh, man, that's even better. And you'll look up, it'll be a year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, however long, you see fit. So
all the little milestones.
Milestones, man. And celebrate them, like, really enjoy it, because a lot of times we get caught up in, and if you do have a setback, okay, don't live in that moment. Like, just understand, like, damn, I had a fuck up. Boom, but here's what I want to accomplish, not doing it. You know what I'm saying? So I would just say take it one day at a time, for sure.
Absolutely. And, I had to ask only because, a member of my family, had the same journey, you know what I mean? My grandfather, he made it, you know what I mean?
How many years?
You know what? It's to the point to where I lost him.
That's dope. That's amazing.
It was mostly when I was a child.
Yeah.
I mean, like, just to see him, still thriving.
That's
what
amazing,
I mean?
bro.
And he's still with us. You know
that's
what I mean?
Amazing.
To tell that. So, that's definitely why I had to ask it. And actually, one of my, if I may tell you a story right quick, one of my greatest memories as a kid growing up was, waking up with him every Sunday morning, and we'd read the funny paper.
Yeah.
I mean, every Sunday morning. Fast forward a little bit to earlier this year in April, to where I would open the Los Angeles Times, and I see the greatest thing that I had seen since reading the funny papers with my grandfather, and that was you and Head in the Los Angeles Times.
Snap, man, dude.
You know what I mean? And just off of that, can you tell me how it felt, just to see you and your day one in the Los Angeles Times,
Man,
telling your story for the first time?
There's no greater feeling than that, man. Shout out to the homegirl Victoria that presented that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Just amazing, man. Just, again, one of those confirmations, like, all right, all those sleepless nights, all those days in the studios, all that money that you put up, money that you consistently still put up, it's not in vain. You know what I mean? I think a lot of times we get caught up with, whether you're a creative or an artist or just anything that you love to do,
mm-hmm.
you get caught up in not getting the result that you may want initially.
Mm-hmm.
But little things like that is that fuel that allows me to keep going. It's like, all right, we're doing something right. Like stuff like the LA Times, stuff like getting hired at iHeart, stuff like these things, that even compliments that we get from people like yourself that want to reach out and do interviews, like that just doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I hold on to those and I take those very, very dearly. So to be able to open up the paper and like physically touch the paper, the LA Times, and see us on there, it's just an indescribable feeling, bro. Like I can't even bring up the words because it's like, wow. Like you have a we made it moment, but it's like, I take a step back and say, look, not in a cocky way, but look, you deserve it. Enjoy it. Like try, and then what I was telling you in the beginning is like I'm trying to enjoy or receive compliments more versus just brushing them off. Oh no, you got no, enjoy it, take it. Right? So it's like, man, thank you. I really appreciate it. And just those are the things that kind of keep me fueled for when those times they don't feel that well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? When those days you're feeling like, damn, is this worth it? Like, what am I doing? You reach back and put those in the memory bank and like, damn, okay, nah, you can't just give up because you're obviously making strides,
Absolutely, and I mean, the greatest thing is like, even though that is confirmation, it's still a reminder at the same time, this is just only the beginning. It's only the beginning, and but that is, that is one hell of a, and an accolade, what I mean?
Hell yeah.
To throw on the resume for yourself.
Being from LA, being in LA Times, it's
Absolutely.
Like,
that's what I'm saying. It's like
put that to check. I didn't even have that on the bucket list, but it's like, man, that's on the. I scratched that off the list, man.
That was on the list. I didn't even know.
I didn't even know it was on the list.
That's
put it on the list.
It's official. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And just. So just before we close this out, man, just one last question, as we said before, with Homegrown Radio and from then until now, and as we said, especially with Kendrick and everyone who's come through, you know what I mean? You gentlemen have definitely, showed us the future of West Coast and California before, it even came to us, you know what I mean? And just one last question, just because you guys have the ability, I just want to know if y'all can do it again. Who or what is next for the West Coast?
Oh my God. Honestly, I'm going to tell you like this. Who or what's next is the ones you are not paying attention to. Mm-hmm. And I hate to be super cliche about that, but it's the ones that right now that are just cultivating. You know what I'm saying? I had a conversation, I'm not going to get into it, but I had a conversation with somebody really legendary. Mm-hmm. And they were asking the same thing, like, yo, who's next? Like, what's going on? Like, man, that person is cooking right now. You can't see them because they're in the lab building. You're not going to get the final result until something pops, something happens, so they reach that next level. And I think that we haven't seen it yet because they're still defining themselves.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of different movements. I mean, from this dude named Key Richards, I really rock with. He's from the city. I think he's from Compton, and he reminds me of Nipsey in the sense of how he takes ownership of his brand. Mm-hmm. He's got his own little label situation. He's got artists that are under him. I've seen him pop out at different shows, and he has a couple of artists that are with him. But he took the same initiative that Nip did and sold his mixtape for $100 and was successful at doing that. And not too many people can say that they can do that. So somebody like him, somebody like Aruchi, who's from Inglewood, and he has an incredible story about his father being deported, but through the success of his latest project, which is called Taco Son, he's been able to buy his dad a house abroad. You know what I'm saying? Like, just different things like that. I'm really interested in, like, people's stories, bro. It's a character named AZ Sway. I love what he's doing, man, because he's been responsible for, you know, kind of crafting a certain sound in LA, but hasn't really necessarily got the credit for it. So I'm excited to see what he's got coming up. There's a lot, but that's my point. It's a lot of people. That's just three. There's a young lady by the name of La Brea. She's amazing. A dude named FIFA. He's amazing. There's a lot of people that I can name, and I know I'm probably leaving a lot of people out. My point is, go search for them. Go find them, because they're there. Absolutely. It could be one of the homies. It could be one of your family members. Just take that time and do that digging. I think with social media now, we have the luxury to be able to see who's out there. You know what I mean? They may not be polished right now, but they're out there. They might not have the platform or the brand behind them, the label situation or anything like that, but they're out there. But it's on us to kind of seek them out. And it doesn't mean that they'll get a multi-million-dollar deal or they'll be the next ones on Billboard charts, but that support that the fans give can ultimately help them get to that next level in their career. But it's up to us to find them, because it's there. We got the SoundClouds, we got all the streaming services for you to go out there and kind of search whoever's out there. Just got to figure it out. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Chuck, thank you for the California love. So,
of course, man. Of course. Appreciate your time, bro. Appreciate you coming out here and, you know, wanting to even do this, bro. Like, because I don't take that lightly at all.
Likewise, sir. You have my eternal gratitude for real. But there was one question that we said we'd go back to.
Go ahead.
What would be that one question you would ask Pac?
I would ask Pac. Where he sees himself in 10 years. And does he regret signing with Death Row? I just would want to know, because there was so much controversy with him signing and not signing. If you ever look at like the story, he had a certain bond and kinship with Suge, like for sure, nobody could deny that. But I think we also knew that he was in a hard place between getting locked up and wanting to be free. Yes, so I knew the story goes that he signed a deal because he wanted to get out of jail. He fulfilled his label obligations, but kind of couldn't get off like that. That's where it gets sketchy. So I would want to know that particular part of it. Like, yo, so what happened? Like, did you like really do that in a sense to get off, or was there? What were your plans? Did you regret any of the moves that you made? You know what I mean? Because obviously, you know, certain activities and things led up to his death, but I would just want to know if he ever regretted that. Would he have stayed in jail for the because remember, he wasn't even sentenced to a certain time. He's still sitting. So would he have sat down for a couple of years? Let's just say he got sentenced for 4 or 5 years. Would he have done that time and then come out fresh then, or would he lay it out the way we seen it played out? Told y'all, think about it. Figure it out.
You know what, truth be told, I think, only you and Big are the only two people who I would want, if he was ever to come to real, or I think we're the only people who I would feel, deserve to have that, that conversation. You know what I mean? So thank you for answering that question.
Of course, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate your time, bro.
Thank y'all for joining us. We'll see you next time, Chuck. I think, the best thing that we learned from this, it's only the beginning.
It's only the beginning, man. And keep it homegrown.
You understand? Love y'all.
My dude. Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Of course.
So much. I appreciate that in a real way.